Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is VlogsBoutNothin. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy night to join me. I really appreciate it. It's summertime, and so often during the summer, you'll see the good old state fair run on through your neighborhood. And this video is actually dedicated to the New Mexico State Fair, which is just a lovely organization, consisting of many lovely individuals there on the board. And I say this, and obviously, if you can't feel the sarcasm, there's sarcasm in terms of I actually think the New Mexico State Fair um is a joke. In terms of I can't, what do you expect me to do? Say nothing? In terms of, well, I mean, essentially that's what we do, but we would be saying something if we didn't say anything. So instead we say nothing. Yeah, it can get a little confusing. But no, seriously, to all my local community out here, like in, Albuquerque in particular, because the state fair is hosted here in Albuquerque, you know what I mean? So like there's that. There's that, right? The state fair is hosted here in Albuquerque every year, always has been, whatever. It used to be very localized in that, like, it was a thing. If you were a local vendor, you had an opportunity of a lifetime. You could go to a place and pay little money to enter as a vendor and sell your product to your community. Like, seriously, it's a great idea. This is a great idea in practice, right? I mean, it's a great idea in theory. In practice, it's terrible because the New Mexico State Fair is one of many, I would argue, probably 50 state fairs, all throughout the country that completely lacks on providing its community with a quality experience, at the same time not trying to gouge them for absolutely every dime they have. You understand what I'm saying? Which is quite the opposite of how you attract community members, right? Like, I mean, if you want to attract just some people, like make everything real expensive, act discriminatory in that way. It's all high stress. Everyone's spending $20 on cups of lemonade, $25 for hamburgers. I mean, the current economy and the way that not everybody gets that much money, plays out means that oftentimes there is a decline in attendance at state fairs every year for that very reason. And I have a huge problem with unlocal vendors coming into my state and being able to sell products to my community, acting like, any of those dollars are going to stay within the city or state for that matter. I know vendors that operate in every single state, you know what I mean? And like, again, they're just capitalizing on what's clearly a lackadaisical policy at best, in that we always hear about the macrocosms of like the macro ideas as it concerns monopoly and anti-competitive behavior in the business world and so forth. But I mean, look no further than your local state fair in terms of, like, you want to see some real monopolies in terms of, cash heavy businesses that operate from state to state and have an opportunity to serve many communities, all while taking their money from state to state and never spending a dime of it within that community. Like, I think that that's not cool. I think that that's not a good thing. And as much as I'm for regional collaboration and, unilateral collaboration amongst all people, wherever that is, state fairs are something very local. And they should be promoted local, and we should exclude out of towners from doing business in our backyard. That's all I'm saying. Because again, ask the guy who owns the booth that you're buying the lemonade from where he lives, or where he's from, or where that money's going, or where their next job is, and you will quickly find out that, again, not only is that money not staying within your local community, but you are not appreciated, you are price gouged, and again, there's no meaningful outcome as it pertains to communities having a place that's safe and secure to go enjoy recreational time with their community members. You feel me? It shouldn't cost $200 to go hang out with Jimbo and his family from up the street. Like truly. And again, I just feel like out of town vendors operating in local fairs are it's horrendous, right? And then you got cats who know this and know of that practice, right? And so they do this whole change of lifestyle where they like move into your local town. Obviously I'm referring to my own experiences in life, right? As I always am. And as I always am, very careful, in terms of not to defame or not to say last names as it concerns, my extemporaneous thought process. But I will tell you that I have absolutely zero respect for the state board as it concerns the New Mexico State Fair Board and their executive leadership and the way that they encourage and allow out of town vendors to operate on local space. Again, I am not okay with that. You guys should be promoting inclusivity within the local community at a state level, which is something that can't always happen. But because it's a state event, it should be noted that states typically have labor to offer and it should be utilized. I'm not a fan of Facebook building, a communication center down in Los Lunas and bringing everybody that worked in California over here to take those jobs when in fact it's all cool and dandy and I'm happy for the people that were able to keep their jobs and welcome to the community, in terms of being a New Mexican and having a job and a place to stay and low cost of living and great food, you feel me? Like welcome. But at the same time, like you're taking local people's jobs. People like Facebook didn't have to do that. Like there's human beings here that can also perform the same actions. And in fact, it would better their lives because we don't have very many high paying jobs. So whatever high paying jobs are available, should absolutely be given to local populations. Like again, as I'm for, I'm immersing and for collaborating and I'm for people visiting and stuff, but like, visiting does not include, taking everything, in terms of like there's a difference between being a visiting company trying to become a part of the community as much as moreover there is a corporation that comes into the community with its own staff of people that does no good for anybody at all except for the company who receives heavy tax subsidies and breaks as a result of operating in a local community that employs no local people. You feel me? So like, yeah, I got a problem with state fairs in general because it doesn't matter if it's each state often has their own dynastical family that is like stupid wealthy, had like an off book wealthy in terms of like they deal cash. These guys have money, like actual money. Plus the credit to extend that, acts as a means of getting more money without having to spend actual money. Again, take a look at your local state fair operation. The people who control the rides are one company, and the vendors that sell you your stuff are also each individual people, but oftentimes many of those vendors are owned by the same company. So like again, like what kind of like BS is it when you go to your local state fair and the only dude selling lemonade is from Vermont? You feel me? Has 10 lemonade stands open and all while like it's crazy in that instead of one person operating 10 different freaking stands, you could have in theory 10 different individuals running 10 different stands that are all competing with one another, but has an incentive in that that's where capitalism is, It's like, okay, there's 10 lemonade vendors. I'm with the thought process that whoever serves lemonade the best is going to win and they're going to sell the most lemonade, but when you limit it to just one person responsible for selling all the lemonade, then good luck. You feel me? I mean, you're literally paying for hose water mixed with country time powder mix thrown in with the real lemon, all for $20. All for the cheap price of $20. So like, I dare even ask people out there to seriously, like, I'm not even joking, like, I am the proud owner of a company that goes through great lengths and always has to make sure that we provide our customers with clean water, But I dare somebody out there, like, this is a challenge. Go to your state fair, take a little meter thing, a little testing stick to test the kind of water that's making your lemonade. And holy potatoes, don't say I didn't tell you so, because I told you so. And so I hope that you guys have a lovely evening. Yeah, this was an entire bag on the New Mexico State Fair. And again, and what? Until you guys actually do what you're supposed to do for the state of New Mexico, which is take care of the community, employ local people, and have a good and safe environment for local state residents to go and enjoy. Again, like, I'm not interested in supporting out of town vendors. I'm not interested in supporting cash heavy single proprietors who monopolize the entire country's freaking lemonade stands. Like, that's silly. That's a silly thing. You feel me? And it should sound silly, and it is silly because that's what it is. Again, why are all these grown people traveling around the country like carnies in the year 2024 when everything can be done local? You understand what I'm saying? It's different. And all the while, there are many people and there are many vendors who enjoy a great quality of life by living this way. It's just, they're not, competition is competition again. And I know people get heavy handed and all hurt, when the truth is spoke. But again, it's sort of like, so what? Like, this is a community. I'm interested in supporting my community just as I would be as if I were a full-time constituent in the state of Arizona or the state of California. It doesn't really matter. Wherever you live, you don't need out-of-towners coming to your spot to sell you things that your local community could much rather gain benefits from if they were the ones selling it to you. You see what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, the New Mexico State Fair. I don't know. There's two ways that I can just laugh, until I cry, and one of them is thinking about how the state fair operates, and the other is thinking about how I can't shave until October 27th. So I hope that you guys have a lovely evening. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you guys have a really good Friday tomorrow. Okay, bye.